The NFL trade deadline is here, but who are some NFL players that teams should never trade? Let's go through all 32 NFL squads and pick the one player that should be untouchable every trade deadline. Starting with the most obvious answers. If you can't tell, I'm a Chargers fan, as if the chain was needed to tell. And I'm all decked out for the Chargers-Vikings game today because I know that we have one chance at winning this game. With all the Chargers curses, with all the Chargers injuries, it's all about 10. And I can't take Chargers fans who continue to say that there's any legitimacy to trading Justin Herbert to the Minnesota Vikings for JJ McCarthy still. They were talking about this at the draft as well. Absolute stupid. Justin Herbert is carrying this team like Superman for 5 straight years. If anything, we need to make more trades to help him. Obviously, the guy the Chiefs should never trade is Patrick Mahomes. Although, when Andy Reid retires, Travis Kelce retires, that team is going to be taken over by Spagnuolo. Who knows who's going to take over? Will we ever get to a point where Mahomes leaves the Chiefs instead of the Chiefs trading Mahomes? For the Bengals and Vikings, it's got to be the 2 LSU guys. And no, I'm not talking about Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow for the Bengals is untouchable, untradeable. Similar situation to Herbert, where without him, you would be a bottom franchise. 5 wins per season. With him, you're a Super Bowl contender. And the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, to me, is the best wide receiver in football. He's been the best wide receiver in football now to me for multiple years. And Jamar Chase sometimes takes over that moniker statistically. When you round the picture, I think Justin Jefferson is the greatest wide receiver of our generation. I'm just gonna say it. The Vikings would be absolutely stupid to ever trade him for multiple reasons, from ticket sales to what he does on the field for you out wide. He's another one where does he eventually get disgruntled and demand a trade? The Steelers was kind of a more difficult choice. Obviously, it's a bit of an older team and we want a younger player as the untouchable. It's not gonna be Aaron Rodgers, obviously. It's not gonna be DK Metcalf. They don't have any young up-and-coming defensive players that makes me say, oh, this is the guy that's worth more than TJ Watt in the future. So I think that you want to have TJ Watt retire a Steeler. Never trade TJ Watt. Logically, it might make sense one day. I think for the Steelers' culture of holding on to their best players throughout their career, TJ Watt's another one that you can make it happen. And don't let him go to the Arizona Cardinals or have this weird Twilight tour like JJ Watt had to go and do. For the Ravens, it's Lamar Jackson, and do I need to do much explaining? Similar for the Bills and Josh Allen. There's no one even close to consideration. There's no one you can even debate me is more untouchable on either teams, the Bills or the Ravens. And then for the Browns, I normally would say that they should trade Myles Garrett. I've been saying for multiple years, I think they should trade Myles Garrett to try and get ahead of this rebuild. But it's clear the Browns refuse to trade Myles Garrett, and they never will. So I'll put this as Myles Garrett. Now that you've invested so much into him, you've given him this many contracts, you've denied the multiple first-round pick trades over and over again, you can never let go of Myles Garrett. Although Mason Graham is going to creep into this territory, I think, in his first couple of years right away. That's a scary duo. All right, let's get into some harder to choose players that should never be traded. But first, if you never met me before, hi, I'm NFLMike, an NFL content creator that creates NFL content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sundays. If you're an NFL fan, I know you will love the channel. Please subscribe before you forget and turn on notifications so you can be here every time I post. And we go live on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Still nailing down the exact time slot. I like Wednesdays better, but we've been doing Tuesdays, so I think we'll do Wednesday this week. You have notifications on. No matter how bad I am at scheduling, you will see when I go live. And then please like the video real quick. Takes you 1 second to hit the thumb, but that one thumbs up can send this video out to hundreds or thousands of more NFL fans like me and you. I'm about to blow your mind. I only picked 2 running backs because we know that position, how short the lifespan is, but these 2 running backs are young, hungry, and look like they could be all-time greats already. Can you believe what Jonathan Taylor is doing this season? We all talk about Daniel Jones's breakout. We all talk about Jalen Hurts and what he's done as a quarterback. We all talked about Sam Darnold's breakout with the Vikings. All these breakouts had something included. A superstar, game-wrecking player like a Jonathan Taylor, who the Colts should never trade at this point. This guy has proven it to me that he is one of, if not the best running back in the league right now. You look at Jalen Hurts, he had Saquon Barkley. You look at Sam Darnold, he had Justin Jefferson. You look at Michael Penix. You look at the Atlanta Falcons, and there's one untouchable player on that team. It's Bijan Robinson. And here is the part that will mess anyone up. Bijan is 23 years old. We're talking possibly 10 years of Bijan's prime still to go. Look at what Christian McCaffrey is doing into his late 20s and 30s. What will the Falcons do? They'll probably trade Bijan to the Eagles as soon as Saquon's done, because that seems to be the way things work out for the Eagles. I had a really hard choice picking a player for the Lions untouchable. I wanted to say Aiden Hutchinson, but he had the injury injury. We've also seen a lot of edge rushers coming up in the league lately. I wanted to say Amon-Ra St. Brown because he just is the lion, like essence of a lion and a Lions player. But you could make that argument about a couple of guys. Jared Goff's obviously become the franchise quarterback. They have their own superstar running back, although that's a duo, so I didn't pick Gibbs because if you lose Gibbs, they still have Monty and they're going to be good. I think the most untouchable player for the Lions right now is Penei Sewell. And then you add the layer on top of it that once the older left tackle retires one day, Penei Sewell may slide over and play left tackle if it's ever needed. Gotta be him. And for the Giants, similar thing, I had a hard time picking. Everyone keeps asking me my thoughts on Jackson Dart, and I keep telling them I think he's going to play himself out of the league. And what I mean by that is he's going to show everything that he's great at on tape, so teams are going to take that away, and then he's going to rely on his legs and running through people. I don't want to see that. I want him to be a better passer. I want to see him improve the timing, as all young quarterbacks have to do eventually. Scadaboo obviously is a truck himself. Again, I'm very worried about the length of the Scadaboo dominance in the style that he does it. You could say it's any of those defensive linemen, Abdul Carter maybe. Brian Burns, I think, is one of the most underrated players in NFL history at this point. But to me, the player that you need to keep your anchor of your culture and of your defense for his entire career is Sexy Dexy, baby. Sexy Dexy is the most untouchable player on the Giants right now. Don't at me. And same thing with the Rams. I will not debate this. This is undebatable. It's not Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. Aaron Donald would have been it, but he retired. It's Puka Nacua, who's an absolutely phenomenal football player. And for the Dolphins was the team where I said maybe this is the only squad without an untradeable player. Their best player to me, without a doubt, is Jalen Waddle. But if you trade Jalen Waddle, your future's looking very bleak. You want to have at least a few superstars to build around, right? I don't think Devon 8-Chain's lifespan, similarly to what we're saying with Cam Scadaboo and the injuries that 8-Chain's already survived, is that long in the NFL. Tua's ran its course. He's out of there. Mike McDaniel's obviously going to be fired probably by the end of this year. They don't have any elite defensive players right now. You could say Jalen Phillips maybe. I don't think Jalen Phillips is on that level of edge rusher yet. It's got to be Jalen Waddle as the most untouchable player, but I say that with hesitation because he's also the player that has the most logical trade value to trade. The Dolphins are in a bad spot. For the Jets, for the next couple of years, they're going to be back in rebuild mode. And I think a bunch of guys might get traded. I think Sauce Gardner might get traded because teams really need DBs. Even though Sauce's been struggling, maybe in a new scheme, he could find what he was as a youngster. But tape gets out on these guys and you find out their weaknesses. I think that Quinnen Williams is a very similar player to Jalen Waddle, where he's their best player on their team, but he also logically will get you the most return trade capital wise, may even get you a young player back, build around in your defense. Just makes the most sense to trade Quinnen Williams. So the player that I would not trade if I was the JETS manager is Elijah Vera Tucker. The Jets O-line is finally going somewhere at least. If any bright spot is to be looked at, it's at Membu. It's at Elijah Vera Tucker. It's at Tippmann. This line is young and it could turn into something very soon, and maybe this is the only way the Jets can get back to being good again. For the Jaguars going into this season, this would have been an extremely hard question to answer, but now it's easy. It's Devin Lloyd. This is the next great linebacker in the NFL. He's proven it to me last year, and now to start this year, he's taking it to another level. And the Jags defense is completely different when he got injured and wasn't on the field, even proving it more. You can't trade this guy. Cardinals pick might surprise you as well, because a lot of people probably would say Kyler Murray. A lot of people might say Marvin Harrison. Let him develop. Let him become the elite wide receiver. But I think that a Super Bowl winning key has been the tight end position over football's history, honestly. And honestly, the evolution of that position into a passer took some franchises to next levels as well. And I think we're going to see another era of the receiving tight end. Every tight end is now turning into Jimmy Graham. And in this situation, I would say my McBride comparison is like Greg Olsen, maybe a Tony Gonzalez, Greg Olsen hybrid, which is nasty if we can get him a nice quarterback. The problem with Kyler Murray is he's so off platform. He's so off timing. He depends on scrambling so much. Trey McBride needs just a simple step, drop back, pocket passing quarterback to hit him. He's going to score 10 touchdowns a season for 5 straight years if that happens. Don't let this be another Tony Gonzalez situation where you trade him from the Chiefs to the Falcons. Washington probably should have been included in the obvious choices, and I am going to say it's Jaden Daniels. But this season is putting some clouds over that. Obviously, he's been injured. Teams are starting to figure him out a little bit more. Kind of like CJ Stroud in Houston, it might be shifting to a different player. There just isn't any real young superstars on the Commanders that I can argue is more valuable to them than Jaden Daniels. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's Bill already. But speaking of the Texans, it's not CJ Stroud anymore to me. Will Anderson is the league's next great pass rusher, and he's with D'Amico Ryans in a perfect landing spot with a defense that has an elite secondary. It all goes together so well. Never trade Will Anderson. Trade Danielle Hunter, trade any other of those D linemen, trade anybody in the secondary. I would rather even trade Stingley than Will Anderson at this moment. Although Stingley was second on my list for the Texans. Then CJ Stroud at 3. You could argue Nico Collins. Someone else I think is a future face of the NFL, Jackson Smith-Njigba should never be traded from the Seattle Seahawks. You're seeing what he's learned and picked up from training camp with Cooper Kupp, working with DK Metcalf, working with Tyler Lockett. It's all coming together, and 11 is going to be a special player. And now they have their quarterback. I think they're going to be the team that commits to Sam Darnold. Whether it works out in the playoffs or not, I don't think it's going to eventually. I think Sam Darnold will be the Seahawks quarterback for 3 to 5 years. JSN's going to be he's cooking for 3 to 5 years. I'm excited to watch it. As you could tell, I was a big JSN fan coming out of the draft. I had him as my wide receiver 1 of that class. A lot of people cooked me for it. Now, someone who's already been the face of the league, that's been on his team forever, that I just never want to see leave at this point, I want to see Cam Jordan retire a Saint. So no matter how bad it gets in New Orleans, go down with the ship, Cam. I'm a jinx, so I probably just got Cam Jordan traded. For the Patriots, it would be Drake May, especially with how he's playing this year. He's playing at like a top 7, top 5 level. Very impressive considering Stephon Diggs is his wide receiver 1. They could use a few more wide receivers. But I think I'm going to pair this up. I think it's the Will Campbell, Drake May duo that's really changed things for the Patriots. Speaking of untradeable rookies, oh my God, is Emeka Egbuka untouchable. This guy is going to be a phenom. He looks exactly like Jalen Waddle with a way better offense and a way better quarterback. For the Cowboys, it was Zach Martin for so long. No matter how many superstars went in, left Dallas, Zach Martin was the anchor of this team, the anchor of the offensive line. So you could say CeeDee Lamb, but I think CeeDee Lamb is tradable. And if you get him mad enough, he may even ask for a trade. You could say George Pickens, but he's on a contract year. He may actually get franchise tagged and traded. You could say Dak Prescott, but if they ever decide they want to move on from him, he still will probably play for other teams and have some juice left in the tank to do so. I see him being like a Russell Wilson end to his career. Micah Parsons, already traded. Is Tyler Smith the new Zach Martin? I know that's crazy praise, but the way this guy's already been playing, he's the anchor of the O-line. He's becoming the best player on the O-line. Is he the most untouchable player on the Cowboys? And will he be that guy that Jerry and son, because I think Tyler Smith's career might outlive Jerry, unfortunately, at this point. Jerry's son is going to keep this guy around for a long time, hopefully. Doing a lot of vouching for you there, Tyler Smith. Don't prove me wrong. I will say the Cowboys' rumors of trading for Max Crosby are perfect. Maybe Max Crosby will become their most untouchable player. For the 49ers, I thought maybe George Kittle would leave San Fran at some point and go to the Bears or go to another team or go to like Bills or another team where he's a really good fit and have a blast trying to chase one more Super Bowl. But it looks like George Kittle is just too important to the 49ers. And this last week even proved it a little bit. George Kittle back out there for the Niner rushing attack, and it's completely transformed back to normal pretty much with one player. I almost chose Ricky Pearsall for this because I think he's going to be that good. He just hasn't proven it to everyone else yet. He's only proven it to me. So I'm going with George Kittle as the 49ers' current most untouchable player. And I think with any quarterback, any running back, you got George Kittle out there with a decent offensive line, you're going to have a good rushing attack, it feels like. Because what he does in the play action is going to be nasty. For the Eagles, I took the cop out. I couldn't really decide if it's Jalen Hurts. It's not Saquon. I know a lot of you guys are saying Saquon. It's what fuels both of these guys' success most. Johnson, Jurgens, Dickerson, Mailata. It's a perfect group. That Eagles O-line, that starting offensive line is untouchable. The whole 5. Keep them all together and going strong until all the wheels fall off. Titans had me searching through the whole roster looking for some name I could come up with. There's no one on this roster that you go, hey, you should never trade that guy. So I'm going to go with the first overall pick because they have so much invested in him already. It's going to be Cam Ward for now. Cam Ward still has a lot to prove before you could tell me that he's untradeable forever. And they literally came out and said everyone on our roster is tradable except for Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons is the one guy that I think every team will line up and send an offer for. The Bears roster is getting better and better. We'll see how the quarterback situation works out. I think this is another sneaky spot to trade for Max Crosby. And I'm going to go back to the tight end wishing well. And no, not Cole Kmet. His backup, Colston Loveland, I still have full faith in. Is going to be one of the great tight ends in the NFL. Just got to wait for his time, wait for his turn. The Bears are very wisely rolling him out in just the passing game for now while he works on becoming a better blocker. Eventually, he's going to be the starting tight end of the Bears. And you're going to see some similar production to what we're seeing out of Tyler Warren with Indy. And speaking of tight ends, the Raiders' heart player might be Max Crosby. The player that's going to get the most touches might be Ashton Genty over the years, but their most untradeable, untouchable player is also a tight end. It's Brock Bauer. We are blessed as football fans to have the tight ends that we have. For the Broncos, I know cornerbacks and wide receivers get traded and move around the league a lot lately, especially in this era. You can't ever trade Pat Surtain. This guy's just too good. I think he's averaging 0.7 yards per target this year. It just doesn't beat that. We're talking less than a yard per target. And I saved the oldest, most historic franchise for last because the trophy is named after a Green Bay Packers coach. This is the only non-player that I'm choosing as the most untradeable asset on the Green Bay Packers. Like the video if you know football and you know this is true, and comment down below who your favorite team's most untouchable player is. Before you tune off of this video, the last and 32nd most valuable, untouchable, untradeable person the Packers is Coach Matt LaFleur. Now I know you could say it's Micah Parsons because of the investment they just made in him, but if you go and look at Matt LaFleur's record and what he's done since he took over the Packers from Mike McCarthy, it's undebatable. This is one of the best coaches in football right now, especially offensively. That's my picks for one player that every team should never trade. Again, comment your favorite team's untouchable player, like the video, and subscribe and turn on notifications before you forget. Will any of these players get traded right after I post this video? I guess sooner rather than later. The GM's phone calls won't lie. Hey Jim, can you pass John to Chef Ortiz for me? Yeah, I know the Titans said they're never gonna trade Simmons, but you're gonna have to send them an offer they can't resist.
It takes talent, yeah, you gotta have love for the game. Super Bowl to Hall of Fame. Touchdown, I hope that you got your head in the game. From the field to the microphone.